He discovers a time barrier that traps him for 70 years due to a planetary error. Today I'm going to show you an American thriller film from 2024 called Caddo Lake. Spoiler alert, be on the lookout. One day Paris and his mother's car falls off a bridge. Paris is allowed to swim to shore, but his mother does not survive. After a period of mourning, Paris returns to work with his partner. He is engaged in dredging work on Caddo Lake, in a body of water located along the border of Louisiana and Texas. His father is extremely dissatisfied with the condition of the lake and holds Tama responsible for its contamination. In the same town, a teenager named Ari resides with her mother, stepfather, and her half-sister Anna. The sisters share a very close bond, despite Ari being a troubled girl who frequently argues with her mother. On this particular day, Ari informs Anna that she plans to spend the night at a friend's house. Anna mentions that wolves have recently been seen around the lake, but Ellie denies this, believing that these animals have not appeared in the area for a long time. Upon reaching the shore near their home, the girls see several local teenagers examining the partially eaten body of an alligator. Ellie throws them back into the lake, confident that there are no more such predators in the area. Meanwhile, Paris waits for the doctor who treated his mother, looking for answers as to why she lost consciousness. While behind the wheel, his father took detailed notes on her episodes. He observed that she had never experienced an ear bleed before, like she did on the day of the accident. He reassures him that there is still little known about how the brain functions and suggests that, for her mother, it was merely a side effect. Following this conversation, Palace goes back home, where he finds his ex-girlfriend C, who has relocated to Houston, waiting for him. After their parting, she walks around the place where Paulus started to build the house. She enters the planned rooms and pretends that it is a completed house, which they live together. She prepares an imaginary dinner and then serves it to Paris. At the same time, Ari pulls Anna's loose milk tooth, and then the girls go to the table to join their stepfather's relatives. Anna shows off the unusual jism she caught, and one of the guests recognizes it as a four-eyed species. Considered extinct in the region, Ari tells her mother that she wants to finish this term. However, for the paperwork, they need her mother's signature, as for her father's death, since it has been more than 7 years since his death. Celestia promises that she and Daniel will take care of it, and asks Ellie not to make a scene. Meanwhile, Paris and C talk about his current life. She tries to comfort him, and he thanks her for being there for him. Anna shows Ellie a necklace with a pendant depicting the constellation of Cancer, which she discovered in her mother's casket. As Ellie secretly searches for the death certificate, Celeste comes in, scolding her disobedient daughter. Ellie departs, and despite Anna's plea to stay, does not catch up with her on the pier. She is worried because the lake has become shallow, making navigation risky. Nonetheless, Ellie drives off without a second glance. Meanwhile, Paris bids farewell to C, placing her in the car. Suddenly, his dog starts barking loudly in the direction of the lake. Ellie heads toward the dried-up forest, exposed by the drought. Suddenly, strange sounds reverberate over the lake, frightening both Ellie and Paris drags her dog back, while Ellie spots a pack of wolves in the submerged bushes. She later arrives at her friend's house, telling her about the animals, suggesting that someone must have doped them. It was also there that Anna found a huge four-eyed meme. The next year, Ellie is awakened by a phone call. Celis tells her that Anna has disappeared and they need to take the boat. Paris heads to work on the lake, where his partner suggests they take a shortcut through the dried-up part. Ellie rushes home. She sums up the boat, what her stepbrother notices, and runs towards home. Siesti calls all friends and acquaintances, while Daniel prepares to search the streams. At the chatter, she realizes that Ellie's boat is no longer moored. He yells at her, but Ellie doesn't understand who could have taken her, just tied her up. It looks like someone came on her. Meanwhile, Paris walks through the exposed forest, where she finds an abandoned oil pump. Suddenly, he rubs his hearing for a moment, stumbles, and then his hearing returns. His partner calls out to him, surprised by his sudden appearance. The neighborhood is covered in rubble, and their boat is stuck. Paris begins to clean the engine, and suddenly notices her mother's necklace wrapped around the propeller. Meanwhile, friends and neighbors have joined the search for Anna. Sejti shows a photo of her daughter, noting that a front tooth is missing. Then the sheriff arrives, announcing that a search team is being organized, and reminds them that Anna had previously run off to do time with his half-sister. But this time, things are different. No one argued, and the chill has disappeared. Either she was taken or she is injured. Paris goes back to the family home, pulls out a box of her mother's belongings, and examines the hangings, confirming their identical pattern. Meanwhile, Ellie and Daniel borrow a boat from a neighbor to search for Anna. C arrives at Paris's house, and he gives her the necklace he found, guiding her to the place where he lost his hearing. But now, everything appears to be normal. Meanwhile, rescuers discover Anna's empty boat. Ellie observes that the girl's life jacket, which is marked with her name, is nowhere to be seen. Paris shares with C about how he lost his hearing and had a trembling hand, and how he eventually found the necklace, becoming convinced that his mother had been there. C remembers their last boat ride during the previous drought when they got stuck in a wall. It was the year 1999, and then he suddenly leaves. He discovers his father's notes about the weather patterns over the past 50 years. These notes describe all the droughts and reductions in lake levels. The cheaters separate the lake into different sectors for their teams. The sheriff issues a warning that a crack has formed in the dam. If Dad has a crack, Anna might never be found. Ellie is determined to inspect the dried-up forest, but her boss thinks it's too risky. Paris shows you her notes. It turns out that the mother's episodes took place during a drought. Cy worries that the disease could be hereditary, but Paris tries to assure him that something strange is happening because a particular part of the lake is drying up. C says she loves him and even delays returning to Houston, but he is unable to respond. Ali asks his mother why Anna's boat was brought home. Instead of being investigated, it turns out that the sheriff had it returned to the family. Celeste explains that Anna often showed a longing sister. Ellie changes the subject to her father, suggesting that her mother is also acting strangely. Steve finally admits that he simply abandoned them, explaining that he knows it was because his new girlfriend attacked me in the store's parking lot. That's why she hid everything from Ellie. Ellie leaves crying, and in the message Amity warns about the dam, which was built in the 1950s. Meanwhile, everyone who can is searching for Anna. Ace finds a photo of his sister and takes the boat to a spot where the water level has fallen, exposing the lake bed. Meanwhile, Parasau's father stops him, worried because he hasn't shown up for work. Strange sounds emerge from the lake, and Parasau's hand starts trembling. He bids farewell to his father and leaves. Ellie wanders around, calling her sister's name. That night, she notices a boat with voices calling Annie. Alla hides from the search. Suddenly, total darkness surrounds her, even though there were flashlights just a moment ago. The connection is broken, and Ellie doesn't know what's going on. Seawood arrives, and she spots a figure on the shore. A fisherman who is surprised to find her there, and he agrees to take her home. Ellie enters the house, finding herself in a lesti, talking on the phone, calling everyone she knows in search of Anna, as if the search never happened. Ace looks out the window and sees his boat moored, with another Ellie inside. He goes out the back door, gets into the boat. Another Eli and sails away. Her hand begins to tremble, but she doesn't slow down. Paris also heads to the lake. She notices that the bridge she passes under is intact. In front of Eli, the bridge lies in ruins, probably the same area, but at different times. Eli calls out her sister's name, and she responds. Paris also hears something and heads toward the sounds. Ellie's ears begin to bleed, but she finally spots Anna. Paris also felt the impact of sound waves, and suddenly, night will turn into day. Then she notices a girl lying on the ground, wearing an orange life jacket. Ellie hugs her sister, but realizes that this Anna is alive in the time from a month ago when she first escaped. She also notices that the girl's teeth are intact. Paris notices that the girl was injured by a tree branch. Anna blames her sister for always arguing with their mother, but Ellie tells her to get in the boat. Paris removes a branch from the girl's back, covers the wound, and carries her to the people she sees at the new oil drilling rig. Ellie takes Anna home and asks her parents not to let her sell herself into the lake. Danny expresses his disappointment and asks her not to upset their mother. An emotional Ellie leaves. In the morning, Paris takes the girl to the construction site where the dam is being built, handing her over to the workers, who find her suspicious. She discovers that it's the year 1952 and escapes when the workers try to take her to the doctor. She checks her notes and sees that there was a drought that year too. Then she looks at her time, 2003, and realizes she can return. She reaches the spot where she found Anna and begins searching for her tracks. He falls into a pit, and when he comes out, night has turned into day. Paris also finds the place where he found Anna, and she reaches her boat and sees a swarm with 4 eyes. Daniel calls her, but the connection is weak and he can't determine her location. He ties a rope to a tree and starts circling the area, calling Anna. Paris sees this yellow rope, but suddenly it falls. Blood begins to flow from his ears. Ari tightens her noose and her hand starts trembling. Paris notices her boat nearby. Ari discovers her sister's life jacket. Paris climbs into the boat and swims away. Ari also comes across an old boat. Paris is stopped by the police, who are searching for Anna. They request his ID, but he doesn't have one, so he runs off. His boat collides with a trunk, and he falls into the water. Ellie reaches the shore and spots a poster from 2005. Paris is taken to the hospital, where he finds out that it's the year 2022. Ellie roams town, showing Anna's picture to everyone. Outside a grocery store, she spots her mom's necklace on a car mirror, recalling Anna took it when she vanished. Meanwhile, a policeman favors Paris, but she's silent, unsure how to explain her presence in the future. Ellie jumps into the car, and the owner confronts her, demanding it back. Ellie asks where the pendant came from, and the woman replies that it exposed to her mother, her missing boyfriend, Anna. Ellie picks up the missing persons poster, which features a photo of her father, Ballas, and realizes that the woman is her mother, C, holding Ellie as an infant. Sai, claiming that Ari is Paris' lover, the one who abandoned her, asks her. She tells him she has a daughter. Ari escapes and finds an internet cafe where she searches for anything she might know about Anna. Paris asks her to live for an outlet to the toilet. From where does he manage to escape? Ari finds a file on Anna and faces Summer. Paris sees a news report with a photo of Anna. He realizes that the girl he saved in the past is his own mother. Eli realizes that the girl from the past is her sister who was killed. With tears in his eyes, he follows her journey from elementary school through university graduation to marriage and the birth of her son, whom he recognizes as his father. Paris unexpectedly finds himself in the hospital room where his elderly father lies. She tells him that he has found his mother. It turns out that there is a place by the lake where time travel is possible, which explains his mother's illness, since she came from the past, just like him. They find it, and Paris jumps out the window. After reviewing all the information, Ace realizes that her half-sister Anna is actually her grandmother. At this point, Paris accepts Daniel's Soresti car and drives toward the lake, while Eli returns to the lake. They are back in their own time. Paris is spotted by the police, who set off in pursuit of him, while Eli arrives at the marked spot. The police stop Paris on the bridge, and he jumps into the water. Eli follows his rope, and when the dam bursts, Farah reaches Paris, who dies. The water floods the time anomaly area, and Ellie returns to her time, where the search for Anna has been going on for 3 days. Daniel mentions a man who looks a lot like her father, who died after jumping off the dam. Ellie tells him that they are family, despite the argument, but doesn't reveal that he is her great-grandfather. She returns home, and a picture of Polis appears on TV asking for help in identifying him. C is shocked by the news, and her shows a photo of Anna behind the school from 1952 years and hugs her, explaining that neither Anna nor Paris wanted to leave them. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a paw up to support the channel.